All right, happy Monday as I'm recording this. I ran across these over the weekend. They're called Hexed Places, and it seemed like a good fit naturally, and they seemed interesting, so I thought I would check them out. And why not? Why not today? Why put off for tomorrow what I can do right now? I have a map, so I bought a couple of them. There are some bundles, so I guess this here, what you're looking at over here on the side right now, is called the Hexed Places Compendium. And it's basically a list of all the products with, I think, a map. This is free on drive-through. It's basically an overview with some instructions. Hey, Brian Smith, with some general instructions, which we'll go through in a minute. I think there must be a map here. Maybe, maybe not. No, or maybe there is no map. But it's got a key for the map. In any case, the compendium does give you an idea if you want to grab it free on drive-through. You can kind of take a look at the different offerings. There's a bunch. Ashwood, Bitter Black Forest, Crescent Lake, Dead Rock Spires, Denshi Ferry, Demon's Ascent, Fen Fields, so on and so forth. I downloaded two. I bought two. Thanks to the folks who use the affiliate links. I got a little bit of monies sitting in drive-through that I could drop on this. I downloaded Ashwood and Fen Fields. There are bundles, and first I was going to buy a bundle, but right now the bundle pricing, it seems a little bit messed up because a bunch of them are on sale, or maybe all the individual ones are on sale. If you go and you look at the bundle, you get some messaging like you're actually saving negative money because the bundle is actually more right now than the cost of the individual pieces. So if you like these, I would say either, it seems weird to say wait for the sales over, but no, probably just buy them individually because it's a better deal than the bundle. And maybe things will get in line with the bundle later on. Not so sure. This is the map for what they're calling, well, it's called the Fen Fields. And I don't know how big these are. I don't know how long this will take. So just to get through it, Fen Fields published by PBE Games from 2014. So I think always something to keep in mind that, I've talked about this before with dungeons and other things that they're different design cycles, the rise and fall of different ways of doing things, the rise, I guess maybe I should say, of the, what would you call it, the Dolmenwood OSE style. And this clearly, obviously predates all of that. So no idea if they're going to update these. I don't think they necessarily need updating, but just, a lot of folks, I think, really appreciate the newer kind of layout and design. Well, we're not going to find that here, but the previews seem very clean and neat, so I don't think there's going to be anything there, but just, it's from 2014. So just keep that in mind. Created by Mark A. Thomas. Maps are created using Hexographer, which if you've seen a Hexographer map, I think you know. They did something kind of cool here. I don't know how to get, obviously they had to pull it out of Hexographer and put this kind of template in there, which is cool. I'll have to look at that. Let's see, some art by Tomas Baranya, Gary Dupuy, William McAusland, and oh boy, Machij, sorry about that, Zagorski. Apologies for my butchery. About Hex Places. Hex Places are outdoor locations and encounters based on the classic 6-mile hex format and OSR sensibilities. Use these locales as quick side adventures, fill a blank spot on your campaign sandbox, or extend upon them to create a multi-session campaign. Each Hexed Places includes a regional overview, expanded 1 mile per hex maps for players and GMs, encounters and rumors tables, and descriptions of individual locations, encounters, and features within the hex. So this is the GM map as located. And in the preview, they show the player map. I think it basically is the same. It won't have, I don't think it has any of the marked locations on it, and it'll have a notes area. So if you wanted to print it out, give it to your players, or use it as if you're using kind of a mini or some kind of marker, they could play around with that and they could make notes. So kind of a setup if you wanted to run it, one of these as a West Marches kind of thing. The idea in the West Marches is often a communal map that gets updated. You could print that out and have that as your kind of communal shared map if you so chose. Just looking at the map, hey, there's a cool river system coming in here. From elevations, we've got some confluences. I imagine. I can't tell if we're supposed to be running which way the river's flowing. I know I marked that on one of the maps that I've been working on. I kind of think it's. I'd want to know which way the river's flowing. I mean, should I assume it's flowing, I guess, west as opposed to east? I don't know, because I don't know. But give me a little river flow. Just give me an arrow. Just give me an arrow at the here, an arrow maybe at either end that just says, oh yeah, the river's flowing this way. Though actually, it makes it seem by the way these are joining. I guess actually the river flows that way. Hey, Beardy Man. The river looks like it's actually flowing this way, just because of the angle. If this is drawn the way those are joining, makes me think that's flowing kind of the opposite. I don't know if opposite, whatever. It's flowing. It seems to be flowing northwest. Okay, well, we got some road. Looks like a road network. We have a lair or a cave, or maybe that's a lair, a cave, or maybe a monster, a lair, and a ruin. The river should flow northwest. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. It looks like the way these are joining that they're flowing, northwest. Yep. Content and usage, player and GM maps. And I think this is standard boilerplate. Like I said, I downloaded 2 of these, so we'll get to see kind of what's unique to each one and what's not. But I have a feeling that I probably won't read this the second time around, because I'm feeling that these are standard boilerplate stuff. But I'll read it now. Content and usage, player and GM maps. The maps provide a detailed look at the region at a 1 mile per hex scale. The player version of the map does not include roads, trails, or locale icons. Introduction and rumors. This section provides a broad overview of the locale, outlining major physical features and obstacles. It also includes a set of rumors that may or may not provide accurate information about the region. Locations. The major locations in the region are detailed in this section. Each location is referenced by hex coordinates and a name. Locations are ordered by coordinates northwest to southeast. So I guess kind of clockwise. Encounters. This table reflects the typical creature population of the hex. Its primary purpose is to provide wandering monster encounters, but can also be used to fill in blank spaces on the map or as a tool for populating nearby locales. And then some extras. The extras section details any unique creatures, treasures, or magic items mentioned in the text. It also includes any tables referenced in the main document. Stat blocks. All creatures and NPCs in Hexed Places include simple stat blocks as a standard frame of reference. Here's an example. Orcs, they're 5. Armor class 6, 13 if ascending, 1 hit die, 1 attack, d6 damage, movement 9. 8 the sun, treasure, 2d6 gold pieces, 2d6 silver pieces each. This stat block represents 5, 1 hit die orcs, armor class, did I say 6 or I guess it's 5? Where are my glasses? There. Let's see. This stat block represents 5, 1 hit die orcs. Armor class values are given as descending with ascending parenthetical, in parentheses, I should say. And unarmored characters AC 9, parentheses 10, and chainmail provides AC 5, parentheses 14. Movement is given in generic units. Unburdened humans are movement 12. Special abilities, class or level, and treasure are appended as needed. So the only thing missing, I guess, I would have liked some morale. Morale would have been good. But I guess you can just roll for it. Treasures. Creature and locale descriptions include treasure listings. Since treasure can have a major impact on the campaign, the GM should carefully review these listings and adjust them to suit their game. Intelligent foes should make use of any treasure they carry. That's a nice note. The bad guy is got a +1 sword, but they're using a +0 club. Like, why? I mean, assuming that they know how to use it. Why? Experience. Hexed Places does not provide experience point values for encounters, foes, or treasure. This element is very system and group dependent, so it is left in the hands of the GM. Okay, there you go. Use values I already have. So here's the player map, so we can see the differences, right? The road's gone. The locales, I guess what they're calling them, the individual sort of landmarks are missing. But they got the river. They'll always have the river. And then there's that section, like I mentioned, for notes. And then we get the GM side. Oh, the GM one also has notes. You do get a zip file. So each of the downloads, you can get the files individually or in a zip. I just downloaded the zip file. And inside that zip file, there's just this PDF and then 2 map images, if you were wondering. Fen Fields. So now we're getting to the actual content for these hexed places, this hexed place. This plains region is divided by a slow river that runs from southeast to northwest. All right, so there you go. Got it. The open plains are covered in tall grasses, while patchy woods and marshy ground flank the river bottom lowlands. At night, a vast croaking chorus fills the air. Very apropos if you followed my working streams from over the weekend, the croaking, that is. 2 fords. One is at 201, and another one's at 303. Serve as river crossings, but during wet weather, the waters rise significantly, becoming an impassable flood. 2 minor trails cross fen fields, but they see little use. So I guess these are trails more than roads. Just FYI. So there we get a nice little overview. If you were going to zoom out, right? So this is 1 6-mile hex ultimately. So if you were to pull back, it would be a plains hex, but zooming in, this is what we get on the inside, right? So the big hex, if we were going to pick one icon, would be plains. But then as we look inside, we see get the river, we get some hills, we get some forest, and we get some swamp. I think it's placed reasonably, right? The swamps are around near the water, as are the woods, more or less. Water, and then you get more shrubs and grasslands outside. Hey, Sam, how are you? I do question, I guess it depends on the nature of the ruin. If this was if this was like someone's tower or something, maybe it makes sense it's out here, but I would have thought if any spot you're going to grab, I'd probably think here or here. You've got high ground, you've got the water coming down to the river. Good cultivating and things in this area here. Firewood, maybe, so grazing lands. Obviously, if you got here and there's a monster and then some other kind of lair, that probably doesn't work. But that probably would have been the spot I would have picked. Maybe if I couldn't get that spot over here, I think. I'm not sure why I'd put myself out and kind of, or at least go here. But it is what it is. Choices were made. We don't know. Maybe the landscape has changed. All right, on to the rumors. A deadly, multi-headed monster stalks the riverside swamps of Fen Fields, a horror capable of devouring a person in one bite. Okay, hey, Phil. Cheers as well. So noticing first off, we're not getting a true or false. It sounded like from the intro that some things might not be true. Maybe some of them are partially true, but in any case, rumors just presented. They're not putting a list, so I feel like you could easily just add some numbers on there for rolling if you wanted to roll for some reason. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 7. But in any case, rumors are always good. So there's a multi-headed monster that might be stalking the riverside swamps. So we're talking, I guess this is this monster icon. It makes it sound like it's true, or maybe at least it's partially true. Wild horses roam the fields and hills south of the river, protected by a supernatural guardian. That one's interesting. If you want to cross the river ford safely, you should tie a cow along the river's edge and hide. When the cow disappears, it's safe to cross. Also interesting. The ruined tower near the river was once the home of the wizard Ixonava. Her ghost still haunts the ruin, protecting the treasure she hid there long ago. So we're talking, I'm guessing this is this and not this. Remember, these are all 1 mile hexes, so everything's fairly close to the river. But still, here you're, potentially 2 miles away from the river, which is not far, but it's not like you want to make that trek to get your water every time. And that's plus you got to go to this swamp area to get it. The wild horses that roam the area are swift and sure-footed, a superior breed, or perhaps they're more than simple horses. We shall see. The wizard Ixonava created Qualupa, the horrible monster that lives in the river. The gods cursed her for her presumption. Not to be confused with the Chalupa. It's the Qualupa. And this is just water, cold, for the moment water for the working man. Breeders will play handsomely for any horse from fen fields. Many have tried to capture one of these noble steeds. You have succeeded. Brian says it seems like a lot of horseplay is afoot. Ha ha. Yes, indeed. Nice picture. Okay, so now we get the rumors. It seems like all of them will have some kind of truth to it. The one I'm really curious about, just in terms of it being the one that maybe in some ways the most interesting. Well, there are two ones I think is interesting. One about the cow. You want to cross the river ford safely, tie a cow to the river's edge and hide. Maybe that's because this monster's roaming up and down the river, and if it grabs the cow, then it can't grab you. But there's a lot of river here, even in 1 mile hexes. I feel pretty good that I could run across faster. This guy's down here and swimming 3 miles to come get me. But, I suppose why take the risk if you can afford a cow? There's no town here, though, right? There's no settlement. So it's unclear where these rumors are coming from. And I don't know if that's just going to be the nature of these, is that they're all wilderness hexes, and we just have to presume that the town that the PCs are at is maybe right here somewhere. I might have liked for some of these, and we'll just see how it goes. There is some kind of town, settlement, village, castle. You're gonna have to fill that in, and maybe I don't know, and I don't know if one of these. Hey, Ian, I don't know if one of these would make a better starter that's got the town in it and whatnot. And also, I guess just from a organizational thing, I didn't see an overmap or anything, so I don't know if these are meant to connect to each other in some way, or just supposed to place them on your map. But in any case, you probably want to place a settlement near here so that these rumors are coming from somewhere, or maybe place a settlement on the map, like here. Fine place for a settlement. On either side, you got some woods, maybe stay away from the swamps a little bit. You'd even have a castle and a town or village, and there could be a road. Because I don't know if it would be a struggle. I don't know if struggle is not the right word. Right? You're thinking about how to get people over here. I don't know if there's anything in those rumors that's going to inspire like a great trek. This stuff's really great for if you're close. But I guess that maybe the design principle here is that you're plugging this into your own campaign, so you have a town or whatever, and so you just feed these rumors into whichever town they're in, and the nearest plains hex becomes this. Phil says, I've recently been running hex crawls in square 10 by 10 mile grids, rolling D10 east-west and D10 north-south to determine layer communities and oddities. Love RNG adventure. Yeah, I mean, I love rolling on tables to prep that stuff. And it's kind of always fun to then take that next step, I think. To me, where I guess it should, maybe the real fun is that next step where you take all this stuff that you may have gotten through tables and try to figure out the context that fits them all together. Interesting going with the squares. It says, squares? We don't do that here. Take your squares and get out. No. What would that be called? A square crawl? A square crawl. A grid crawl? Yeah, maybe a grid crawl, right? Would that work? I don't know. Okay, so we got our rumors. I like about the horses. To me, the horses, well, nothing wrong with a little a river creature. Box step. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, now we get some interesting. So we have. It doesn't look like every. So okay. It doesn't look like every hex has something, but it looks like we're getting quite a few. Let me going to count up here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have 7, and this is a 12. 12 pages all included, but maybe 10 pages of content, or maybe 6 pages of content after maps and etc. So we're getting a smattering. Sorry, how many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. So 7 described locations within I mean, there's a whole bunch. I mean, once you break this down to 1 mile hexes, there's a ton. We have seven map locations. I will see if it varies in the other offering, but it's probably going to be, I would guess, somewhere. It's probably going to be a standard. I would imagine that these are standards, maybe, plus or minus 1 or 2. But I'm guessing that each one of these booklets probably count on there being something like seven described locations within the hex. So, but keep in mind, this is just one 6 mile hex, right? So this is, this is all very compact. Okay, so 2-1 is the hidden ford. The river can be forded here, but the crossing is hazardous. The riverbed is strewn with slick rocks and pitted with ankle-breaking holes. The ford is flooded and impassable during wet weather. There is a 10% chance Qualupa will be hunting near the ford when a crossing is attempted. So, you got to roll some dice. So Qualupa, obviously, now we know that rumor is true. Qualupa does exist. They mentioned wet weather. I don't know. I guess it'd be one of those nice things if you put a weather thing in here. What is the weather in this? I mean, granted, they're probably just assuming you're using someone else's weather system, but maybe having a weather thing might be nice. Or even say, hey, what parts of the year are the wet season? Though I say all that, and then I think, well, maybe that's not even a good idea, because again, you're supposed to be plunking these into your existing campaigns. They probably don't want to give you a bunch of stuff that's just not going to fit. So it's probably, I guess it's probably led. Maybe I'd put a simple weather thing in here just in case you missed it or you need it, you didn't have it. But yeah, I think that's the challenge of creating these kinds of products, is that it's designed to kind of fit in relatively seamlessly into something else, and you don't know as the creator what that something else is. So the more specific you get is fine inside your little box, but you have to keep it inside your box because you don't know where it's going to put. You don't know where it's going to get put down. All right, so the hidden hex, there's a 10% chance that Qualupa might be there. Or, sorry, the hidden ford. I think for the GM map, I think you could put a little ford. I'd just put a ford symbol in there just to make it easy, but you've got it on there. All right, and then let's see. 2-3 is the Cave of Whispers. So right here, and there's a trail that leaves the hex, comes through, leaves there. This wet and muddy cave system lies just off the nearby trail and is sometimes used by passing travelers or roaming creatures. Water flowing through some hidden chamber in the depths fills the caves with faint whispering sounds, giving the complex its name. There's a 20% chance something will be using the caves as a temporary shelter. Roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, it's giant frogs. On a 3, it's giant toads. On a 4, it's harpies. On 5, it's a wolf pack. On 6, it's imps. And then they have an encounter table with details. So I think the other thing is we're only getting the above ground locations, which is fine by me. Actually, it's something I was thinking about maybe doing too. You could grab a Dyson Logos or some other really quickie map. I suppose you could argue why not just give me one, but you got to draw some lines. And I appreciate, like, hey, we're giving you the overland map. The underworld, you can fill that in with as much or as little as you want. And frankly, you don't even have to have something in here. It can just be a series of caves that's got somebody living inside. Let's see. Hex 303, which is right here. This is the trail crossing, which I guess would be that right there. The ford at this crossing is broad and easy, a flat stretch of gravel bottom river. During wet weather, the ford is flooded and impassable. There's a 15% chance Qualupa will be hunting near the ford when a crossing is attempted. So you're gonna have to keep your eye out for Qualupa for sure. 3-6 is the herd plain. That is down here. So way down here. A large herd of wild horses roam this area and the surrounding plain. These horses are a superior breed, strong, smart, and tireless. Many were sired by Dian, and he protects his children. See the Grove of Dian, which is 4-6. Where's 4-6? 3, 4. Oh, wow. This one's on the edge of the hex. We have wild horses. They're 3d6 AC. I'm not going to read the stats. But they have movement 18. They have 3 attacks, doing d6, d6, and d3 damage. I guess that's what, hoof, bite? Would that be horses? I don't know. Oh, they have a trample attack. I'm not sure. We don't get a sense of what that means though. The horses will attempt to flee, but if trapped or threatened, they will attack as a group. Okay. Hex 4/4 is Qualupa's lair. The river divides and spreads here, creating a gloomy marsh. Trees and rushes screen the riverbanks, and thick moss hides deep pools. Here and there, low-mounded islets rise above the dark water. Qualupa's lair is on the largest of these islets. It is a maze of muddy tunnels that connect two half-flooded central caves to the surface and several of the nearest waterways. One of the two central caves is the lair proper, and Qualupa will be found here 70% of the time. The other cave is a dumping ground for Qualupa's victims. It vomits up their remains here, along with any items that survive their stay within the beast's gullet. There are 1,300 copper pieces, 900 silver pieces, 350 gold pieces, a wand of lightning, 3 charges, and a fine emerald ring worth 1,200 gold pieces scattered amidst the debris and bones. All right, so I might have, for this lair, it seems like he has a good concept in his brain. Maybe just give me a simple little map. Ultimately, though, you can put it together from what he's giving you in the text. But even if it's just to draw it out. Brian says 78% of the time is the idea you roll a D100 and see if you're under 78. Yes. Did I say 78? Was it 70, 78? Yes. When you see these percentages, yes, you are to roll a D100. And if you roll 70 or below, Qualupa's there. If you roll 71 or above, Qualupa ain't there. So yeah, you would just roll those dice. And you can use different, people have different systems. X and 6 is basically the same. It's all about the granularity that you want. If it's a D100, then you have 1% increments. A D6 is 16% and change, 16.66666% increments. A D20 is 5% increments. A D10 is 10% increments, so on and so forth. So using the percentages gives you the most, without going into any kind of, without using regular dice kind of regular ways, not going like D666 where you could, I don't know, you have I think you have 200 something possibilities so that you have even bigger sides. But I think percentage is nice, and of course your odds are supremely clear. Sometimes if you use other methods, it obfuscates what are the actual odds of success. And something that's nice with percentage is that's it. It is what it is. So yeah, 78%. You got to roll under or equal to 78. Right? Easy peasy. That's what that is. All right, so that was the lair. Now we get to Hex 406 I just saw here at the very edge of the hex, half in, half out, as it were. The Grove of Dayan. Dayan is the Mount of Salvatore, the divine spirit trapped within Qualupa's crystal heart. Oh, we didn't get that. I might also just put all of Qualupa's stuff in the lair instead of extras, but I don't know. Because then it just means if I get to the lair, I don't have to flip. But I guess Qualupa can be found in different areas, so maybe I'd have to flip one way or another fairly often. All right, so Dayan is the Mount of Salvatore, the divine spirit trapped within Qualupa's crystal heart. Dayan is a powerfully built golden horse with a glowing white mane. He remains loyal to his master, staying close but avoiding direct contact with Qualupa. The beast's vast hunger does not recognize loyalty. That's a nice turn of phrase. Dayan guards the nearby horse herds, keeping them away from the river and defending them against most predators. He has sired many foals during his long and lonely exile. So Dayan, and it gives a 3d6 number again. I thought that was the number appearing. Does that not? Do we not see that, right? They see that in the compendium. Orcs 5. So if Dayan is 1, why do we get 3d6? I am confused a little bit. Brian Smith, I already made a chalupa joke. You are too late. Hey, Magnus. I'm not sure why this number is there because I don't know why there'd be more than one of them. In any case, he's immune. It's immune to non-magical weapons. It has invisibility, and it has a divine aura. Dayan can become invisible at will, and when enraged, his divine aura flares, blinding those that gaze upon him, inflicting 3d8 damage on any unholy or demonic creature that it touches. Does that include Qualupa? Don't know. Yeah, it might have been a copy-paste issue. Yeah, I could see maybe that there's Dion and then some other horses are here with him, but yeah, 3d6 for, in parentheses, for a what's clearly a unique creature, named creature, it seems like a mistake. Magnus wants to know the river's all nice. Yeah, I don't know if they did this. I mean, you could do this in Hexographer. I don't know if they did it in Hexographer because it can take some doing, or if they pulled it out and then threw it into Illustrator or Affinity Designer or some other kind of vector drawing tool did it. But yeah, they did nice work. It's a nice river. Is nice. But these are all Hexographer maps. I just don't know how much work they did after the fact. How much was done in Hexographer and how much was done post, as it will. What's your vector, Victor? Nice. Nice. A little airplane. I love those movies. Some of those jokes are great. Like, my daughter won't understand them at all. What was I showed my daughter something. Oh, I showed my daughter the Beastie Boys video for the Beastie Boys song Sabotage, which I just love to death. And she's just looking at me with this kind of blank look. And it occurred to me that the whole reference to cheesy 70s, 80s cop shows is she's so far removed from it that she's 10 years old. She has no clue that these kind of B movie, whatever things were a thing. And I feel like airplane movies, we did watch a little bit of Airplane, and it was when there was the flashback scene when they're at that bar and he meets Stryker, I forget, meets his love interest, and the Girl Scouts get into a brawl, and then it turns to this whole dance fever thing. And my daughter thought it was funny. It's just kind of just incongruous funny, but she doesn't really get the dance fever stuff, obviously. And I know in the second movie there's a bit I like where he's in I think it's in the second movie, it might be in the first one. Might actually still, I think it's still in the first one. He's in the veterans, like the VA hospital, and the girl comes to visit him, and he's telling about all the sad soldiers here suffering from, shell shock, aka PTSDs, and he says, like, who's that? And like he thinks he's Ethel Merman, and then they, you pan over to the bed, and Ethel Merman is in the bed, and she's singing, and then they put her under, they sedate her, and nobody. I don't know how old you have to be to remember who Ethel Merman is, but I'm guessing probably a lot of folks listening right now who are wondering why the heck I'm telling the story are probably saying, like, who the heck is Ethel Merman? Look her up, kids. Ethel Merman, a classic actress of stage and screen, who was already, I think, pretty old when they got her in that movie somehow. Magnus says, the amount of references I know just through cultural osmosis, it really drives home how far removed my kids will be from those things. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Magnus, you don't know who it is? Am I going to have to stop and find Ethel Merman? Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, Ethel Merman. There you go. Died in 84, so not that long after Airplane came out. She was 76? Yeah, I mean, look at her. She was in 1936. Anything Goes. It's a mad, 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 mad world. It's an awesome movie, 1963. I wonder if her last role was in Airplane. Really distinctive look and voice. She was a kind of I think she did a lot of stage work also, I want to say. I feel like one of the things of growing up in the 70s/80s was you're kind of on all those folks who were the early, they were still around. A lot of these folks from kind of early movie times and vaudeville and those things were still kind of around. I mean, they were dying off and a lot of them had died already, but some of them were still there. So you end up with more of that kind of bridge. And now, I think pretty much all of them are gone. And then all those references kind of gone with them. We'll go back, a good excuse to go back and watch Airplane again. And when he's in the VA hospital and says, so-and-so thinks he's Ethel Merman, and they cut over there, that is Ethel Merman in the bed going, he'll be rich, he'll be good, he'll have the star on a plate. Him, get him out. And she's singing Everything's Coming Up Roses, and that's when they give her the sedative. And she passes out, everything's coming up rose. Goes out. Classical scene. All right. More airplane later. Now we're at the Shattered Tower. 6-2. So we're over here. Once the retreat of the wizard Ixanava, all that remains of this once beautiful structure is a hollow stone shell on a rocky hill. Half-buried stairs lead down to a subterranean chamber cut from the native rock. There is a magically sealed door that leads to a secret vault within this underground room. Ixanava created Qualupa, the monster that stalks the river. She fused the essence of Salvatore, a divine spirit, within the body of a magically mutated river serpent. She'd planned to use the beast as a guardian for her secret vault, but her power was insufficient. Qualupa freed itself and killed its creator. The imprisoned Salvatore laid a curse upon Ixanava, trapping her soul within the tower until he was released from Qualupa's horrific bestial form. This kind of has a little bit of a Spirited Away vibe to it, with the spirit and the serpent. I don't know if that's where they got it from, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure Spirited Away is older than 2014, but that's cool. It's a nice touch, and it's something kind of unique about this as opposed to just your ordinary Wizard's Tower. Ixanava's ghost haunts the ruin and has no desire or ability to harm anyone. She only wants to be freed from her cursed existence. She knows the secret passphrase that will unlock the vault beneath the ruined tower and will strike a bargain with anyone who listens, exchanging the passphrase for the glowing crystal heart that binds Salvatore to Qualupa's crystal heart. Once she has the heart, she will honor her bargain and then destroy the object, freeing both Salvatore and herself from their cursed existence. Ixanava appears as the ghostly figure of a slim woman with astute posture. She is completely insubstantial and cannot attack or be harmed. The only physical object she can interact with is Qualupa's crystal heart. She speaks Common and Elvish. The vault within Shattered Tower contains a great deal of wealth. 3 locked chests, one protected by a gas cloud trap, holds 4,100 copper pieces, 2,800 silver pieces, 1,400 gold pieces, and 300 platinum pieces. A secret compartment within the trapped chest holds 9 base 100 gold piece gems. This is if you're going to basically roll them up yourself, kind of thing. If you saw over the weekend when I had my working stream and went and did some treasure generation and gems, they asked for there's a sort of a starting base value, so that's what that is. Ixanava's spellbook is in a wooden coffer protected by explosive runes. A fine suit of magical +2 chainmail is displayed upon a rack, and a slim curved sword hangs on the wall. Now, the one thing with this, Brian needs to write up a Sahagwin, whatever the name of the bard named Ethel Merman. Oh, very good. Birdie Ben has a lot of great fairy tale backstory. Absolutely. Now, the one thing is with this, I kind of think if you save her and you do this, she would tell you about the traps. I don't know. Just saying, you make this bargain. She knows all the traps that are on her treasure. I feel like she would tell you about them. It seems a little bit of a gotcha. Oh, yeah, you think you've won? I might have her tell you. I don't know. Because it seems like, I understand those. I mean, it makes sense to have those there because it is a vault. Someone may kind of thieve it. But in this case, you're literally bargaining away the vault, which you don't want anyway. You're dead. You don't need it. Don't want it. So, I would just as soon just have them say like, oh, yeah. But the traps are great because if you don't do that and they break in anyway, then, yeah, traps go too. But I think if you fulfill her bargain and do it, I feel like she should tell you the traps. I wanted to see something here. So anyone listens, exchanging the passphrase for the glowing crystal heart that binds Salvatore to Qualupa's crystal heart. But I don't think there's more than one. This makes it sound like there's 2 crystal hearts. I don't think there is. I think you're going to have to defeat Qualupa, get the crystal heart, and bring it back, and she can destroy it. I think is what they mean there. I think that's what she means. I don't... Because I was reading that and I thought, as though there another heart, and then you break that one, and then it has some kind of, what's the word, sympathetic relationship with the other one. But I think you're actually gonna have to defeat Qualupa and take the crystal heart and do it. But this is nice. It seems like she said like near the river somewhere, and she's not. I mean, she's not far from the river, but still, I don't know. She could have been right over here, and you would have literally had the river coming to you. I'm not sure why they placed it here and not here. I will probably move her over here. Get a little eraser, move her down here. Now she's kind of on the river. It also means that you're easier to spot because depending on where you come from, maybe it makes the most sense if I was going to plunk this, that the party's coming from somewhere this way, so they have a road that will take them through, maybe this side, kind of taking them through here. Because if they're coming from down here, it's a good chance they'll never even see it. But if it's here, you might follow the river. You know, I like having the river kind of means you could potentially end up following it. Yep, she was the original. She was definitely an original in all things. And the slim curved sword is, I guess it's called Wind Song. So I get some encounters. They're using a D20 table. 1 to 3, you get Qualupa, but only if you're in a swamp or river hex. Otherwise, roll this pack. 7 to 8 is a giant toad. 9 to 10 are wild horses. 11 to 12, it's Dion. 13, there's some sprites. And 14, some griffins. And we do get abbreviated, but we do get stat block, stats, abbreviated stats for all those. I still wish they had morale thrown in there. I'm not sure why they didn't put morale in, but I would have plunked morale in there. And I noticed, I guess it's supposed to be an error, but here they're using MV and here he's using M. I guess that I'm just assume it's MV because it's definitely movement speed and not morale because he's not using morale. Oh, there's more. 15 are imps, 16 or 17s are harpies, 18 or 19 are giant frogs. Did we already get giant frogs? Oh, giant toad. And then GM's choice. Look at that. Dealer's choice. Phil says morale's really useful. Yep. I agree. Now I think, again, keep in mind, this is written for sort of OSR. It's kind of system agnostic, but OSR. So I assume his assumption is that people are using that stuff because most OSR systems have some fun morale. And you could just roll 2d6 to get starting morale. But I think it's nice because to me, you can look at that morale and it gives you a sense of the creatures. It's telling you a little bit about their personality. Are they going to cut and run quickly? Are they tough? What does it say about them if their morale is 9 versus their morale is 6? Or is it 11 versus 5? Right? So, I would kind of prefer to have it, but the assumption he might be making is just going to roll. You're rolling or using whatever your system has. So now we get some stuff on Qualupa. Qualupa, the river horror, is a monstrous serpent with 3 gape-jawed, needle-fanged heads. It was created by the wizard Ixanava, who infused a magically mutated river serpent with the life energies of, this didn't need to be commented out, of Salvatore, a divine spirit. First, this, not a good comma, that, good comma. Except, is it a comma or is it a semicolon? No, it's a comma. That's just a bit of my eyesight. Qualupa. So here they put in 1. So I'm guessing for Dion that just must be an error. AC2 is pretty strong. 12 hit dice, so no joke. 4 attacks, and plus a special, or 4 attacks, 3 regular, 2d8 though, so a lot, and a special. Movement, swing speed, always hungry, swallow whole, constrictor, and regenerating. Ooh, those are some. They got some good. They got a lot of tags in there. Swallow whole is an awesome special attack, says Ben. Yeah, I agree. All right, so the creature can bite 3 targets each round. It can also attempt to snare one of these targets within its deadly grasp. Any snared target is pinned and helpless, suffering 2d8 crushing damage each round. Qualupa could snare up to 3 human-sized targets at once. Jeez. Any bite attack roll that exceeds the minimum required to hit by 5 or more indicates that Qualupa has swallowed the target, human-sized or smaller whole. I like that. I like to use these things a lot, so I like this a lot. You don't have to add a whole bunch of other stuff. You don't need to add another roll. Just, hey, if they succeed by 5 or more, they do a special thing. And if you wanted to have a super special thing, you could have it by 10 or more, which I just like that. Swallowed creatures suffer 2d8 crushing acid damage each round and can only attack with short stabbing weapons. Note that Qualupa is an unnatural creature. It does not digest the creatures it swallows. Qualupa vomits up its victims' crushed and melted remains in its lair. Qualupa has a glowing crystal heart that holds Salvatore's life force. This construct grants the beast great vitality and regenerative powers. So long as the heart is intact, even if it is removed from the creature's body, Qualupa will regenerate all damage it suffers over the course of a single day. Destroying the crystal heart is no simple matter. Only the ghosts of Ixanava can accomplish this feat. Kwalupa can sense its heart over great distances, relentlessly pursuing anyone foolish enough to take it. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a really tough creature. We're not given level requirements for this, but that Kwalupa is going to 2d8 on the attack. I mean, it's going to, and it can hit 3 party members at a time. That is no joke. That is no joke. And nothing is mentioned about how to get the heart out of there, other than you have to get it down to 0 and dig it out and kill it. I don't think there's any way to shortcut that process. It doesn't look like there's a way to, I don't know, armor class -2, you can try to grab it. It's not grafted on the front in some way. So you're going to have to get this thing down to 0 HP. And then, does it even say how much? It doesn't say how many hit points it has. 12 hit dice, but it doesn't give me hit points. I just give me the hit points. And then get it out. And another reason why I like putting the tower here is this river gives Kwalupa a nice way to trail you. There's a nice race element. If you kill Kwalupa here and then you're trying to follow it back up and it's regenerating and then chasing you, it's kind of got an avenue to move quickly. So move this tower here and then just make this a longer trail. Hey, Bruno. They don't mention talking. Sorry, they don't mention, Bruno, they have not mentioned travel. The concept, let's see if it says it in the compendium. The concept is this 1 6-mile hex. The idea here is that you're dropping this into your sandbox style campaign that's using an OSR system. So I think there's a few things that they don't discuss here, and I'm going to guess that they're meaning for you to use travel rules you already have. Keeping in mind, these are all 1-mile hexes in here as part of a one big 6-mile hex. So depending on whatever your travel rules, and this would be a plains hex, you can determine how long it's not very, everything's still fairly close. It's still, this is still a mile. So this from this here to this here, maybe 2 miles. So it's not like right on top of each other, but everything is certainly within maybe a day's ride, certainly well within a day's ride away, or half a day's ride probably. But they did not give specific travel rules. I think it's kind of BYOR, bring your own rules. And you can obviously moderate the speeds, but whether they're traveling on the trails or over the hills or along the river, whatnot. The only thing they have rules for in terms of travel are these a couple of fords where you cross the river. Only because this Kwalupa, this nasty monster, might show up and attack you there. So importante. Okay. So Kwalupa's nasty. You might need to do some stuff to take down Kwalupa. Salvatore is a divine messenger used by the gods to deliver their sendings to their mortal followers. Given his unique role, his exact nature is left to the GM's discretion. But at the very least, he can ride his steed Diana across the various planes of existence at will. While trapped, Salvatore has no powers, but once released, he might become a powerful ally for his saviors. So there you go. You can get a little extra planar contact with Salvatore. Beardy Ben says the casual walk is a little under 3 miles per hour, so it wouldn't take long with 1-mile hexes. Yeah, I usually go a little bit less than that because don't forget, you're usually under load and you're potentially traveling long distances. So, and you're also factoring in, you're not on a path. I mean, well, okay. Here, you're on some kind of trail. We don't know how good it is, but you're not on a road. Tall grasses and all kinds of stuff. You bushwhacking through here, depending on what you're doing, if you're following a game trail or just having to cut your way through, it's going to be, I think, a bit slower. But that's up to you. People have all kinds of different ideas for travel. I tend to slow travel down. I think I'm just a slow travel guy. You got packs and armor and all kinds of stuff. It's not, I don't look at it like, oh, it's a leisurely walk across, it's a little bit, I treat it a little bit differently, but that's me. You can, your game, your treatment of travel. In Blackworm or Brandonsford, similar websites, each hex is like a 30-minute walk. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, again, it's going to, you can really vary with the terrain. Maybe in this grasses, though they mentioned the grasses are tall, so it might be, might have to cut your way through them, and it's not just not mode. But yeah, you certainly could if it's a mile. So this is about 1.5 miles, I think, and this is a mile. So however you think. However you think it. Bruno says, oh yeah, sorry. He said, oh no, sorry. Phil said, slowed wilderness travel could reasonably be 1 mile per 30 minutes. Yeah, totally. I like to use like the kind of like an exploration, or what do I call it? A expedition turn. So it's 3 hours and kind of break it like that. So I think 3 hours, you're definitely cutting across. You're probably getting all the way across this if you're keeping to the plains. Like if we were zoom out to where it's just a plains, that would be I think I have like two plains hexes for one of those, like 3 hours. But as you're zoomed in, you can have some fun with how the going is in different terrains. Oh yeah, this is faster going through here, slower. And that gives those decisions meaning. If you are on these trails and you go off, that slows you down. If you decide to go in the hills, that slows you down. If you decide to cut across the swamp, slows you down, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that was Salvatore. And then finally, Windsong is a curved sword with a simple hilt and pommel. The weapon has a +2 attack and damage bonus. When used in battle, the sword sings a melodious audible tune, audible only to the wielder. This tune makes the wielder immune to any sound-based attack and provides a +2 saving throw, a bonus against charm, fear, or mind-controlling magic. So this is a really nice blade. Upon command, the sword will sing at a deafening volume, expanding its protection to all allies within 30 feet of the wielder, but preventing vocal communication. This power can be invoked once per day and lasts for 6 rounds, after which the sword falls silent for a full hour. So you get a fun, I like that, nice name, Windsong, and some fun kind of powers. And that, we're at the end of this one. So I think it's very simple, but very well put together, clean and neat. Like I said, I wouldn't mind if they threw morale in here. I wouldn't mind if they're going to talk about weather and stuff, maybe throw in a quick weather thing here, but not a big deal. Travel numbers might be nice, but I think just you have to look at, I'm trying to keep in mind what this is, right? This is a supplement for an existing campaign where you're popping this into a hex, basically a 6-mile hex on your map somewhere. You're just plunking this down in there. So there's a fair amount that they're leaving kind of off, and that is because they want to keep it as kind of generic in that sense, or as contained as possible. So the river doesn't have a name, so that can be any river you need. We don't have a town, right? There's no town here. They don't have to worry about if it's a town, who does it belong to? If it's a duchy, does it belong to a kingdom? Like, they don't have to worry, we're not talking about any about that stuff, right? That's all going to be, you make it whatever river you want to that matches that direction, or you could probably even just flip. I would feel free to flip, twist, turn this thing around to get it to be in the things to be going where you need it to go. All that stuff you're bringing to it. This is just giving you, here is this one kind of wilderness overland thing. No maps, or sorry, no dungeon maps. Some descriptions of it, small places, but we're concentrating on overland stuff. You bring the rest. Does it have, let's see, it does have encounters. This table, let's see, no, not there. Let's see, this compendium, does it say about encounters? No, doesn't say there. Let's see if we go down to the encounters, does it say? Whoops. It does not. So I think they're assuming again that you're going to be using whichever OSR system and their encounter system. BYOM, bring your own mechanics. It probably would be something I would say it would be nice to have, because you're kind of in this sub-hex. You're in these sub-hexes. But it could just be one per day, because that would be basically, BX by the book, I think it's 1 check per day. So you would just check once per day. You like that? You like BYOM? I mean, it could be a really big, I think it's a really clever, smart thing. And I feel like I should look at that too, because you can get so caught up in trying to provide all this stuff. Just the questions we've been having and things like, oh, what do they give us? Are they giving us travel? Are they telling us how many encounters there are? They telling us? And it's like, you know what? I know the whole idea here is you have an OSR system that you're already playing. You have a campaign that's already there in some form. So you know what? Use what they have. Use it instead of me making decisions and things that may impact the usability overall. Just use what you already got. Don't worry about it. Just use what you've already got, because chances are you've got something. That was the Fen Fields. We got one more here. Let me switch out. There we go. Ashwood. Oh, I got the player map this time. Wrong map. Hold on. What's going on over here? Why am I getting? Why are you highlighting? I missed something. Is there fire? No, no fire. Let's see. So I pulled up the player map. Where is? Oh, did I? I'll load it up too. No, I didn't. Let's get the GM map. Let's see. Once per day feels like it's not that much. No, it's not. It's not that much. I think because conceptually, I think the idea was that you'd be traveling. You're potentially traveling multiple hexes. Actually, no, it doesn't even matter because it literally is once per day, and the roll, and it's just it's once per day of travel, and that depending on what terrain you have to be in is the percent chance. It doesn't change. So it's 2 and 6 in this place and 3 and 6 here, but it's once per day. I like once per day night generically, just because I like having kind of nocturnal and diurnals, like, oh, what's happened at night, what's happened during the day. But it's not very much. But if you think about it, you've got the named stuff going on. So if you look at the other map, you have Qualupa and it's running around. You have some things. And then it's kind of like, well, what else is going on? And remember, we're all in just one. Now, granted, this 6 mile hex is 31 square miles. So it's not as tiny as it may seem. Hey, Squirrel Hermit. Not as tiny as it may seem, but it's definitely a little bit of a philosophy system thing. How often you want to check. And you can mitigate that a bunch of different ways. Check more often, but then have things be less or more opportune. What's the word? So you can have, generally when you roll for a wilderness encounter, basically the big thing is it's distance. How far away are they? Right. So if you want to run away or pursue, or they, whatever happens, a chase, or you were chasing or you were chased, distance is the big thing. Like in the dungeon, right? If something's 120 feet away, you have a lot more options than something being 10 feet away. And same thing in the wilderness. Is something 120 yards away, or is it right up in your face? Kind of thing. And you could also add time in there. So you could look at it and say, okay, I'm going to roll more often for encounters, but part of what, instead of everything being something there right now, maybe one of those results is right now, but other results are it was just here, or this is old, or something else. So you can play around trying to get kind of similar odds. It's never going to work out exactly the same, because if you're rolling 3 times, the maximum numbers of encounters you can have is 3, whereas the other way, the maximum amount of encounters you can have is 1. So you're going to be, some things are just, you're changing, and you're not going to be able to, you can't have both, basically, in a way. But if it doesn't seem active enough for you, if you want it to be more busy, if you will, you can make that change happen. I mean, this is where kind of personally, it wouldn't be bad if they put some guidance in for different areas of, hey, in this area, it's particularly dense with critters, so roll 3 times a day. Or in this area, it's very bereft of life, so roll once every 2 days. But that's not their approach, which is fine. And like I said, I think it's nice and clean and neat that they're just like, hey, you know what? We're just giving you, as I said, BYO and bring your own mechanics. We're not taking responsibility for that. So this is the Ashwood. Years ago, a falling star landed in this densely wooded area, starting a fire that burned away much of the forest. The woods have grown back in many places, but the area around the landing site is still a burned and blackened ruin. Most of the region is wooded. The southwestern section did not burn, and gigantic firs and hemlocks dominate there. The central and eastern sections are younger trees, a mixed lot of pine, locust, ash, and oak. There are 2 small streams that flow out of the low hills. One leads away west, one to the southeast. A road cuts across the southeast corner of the region, and an old logging trail dead ends near the center of the area. So there we go. So we got two little river systems going in opposite directions. We got a road. We've got the dead area, and then we have surrounding wood. On to the rumors. The fallen star was no star. It was an evil creature from the blackness of outer space. It lurks in its crater, slaying anyone that comes near. Ooh, I like that. Loggers used to haul timber out of the forested hills, but since the fire in the sky, those that enter the woods are never heard from again. Again, we have to keep in mind, no town still is given here. So these loggers got to be going from a town, presumably right off the map, here or here. They can't be too far away. Otherwise, I assume that, why would you go all the way into here? I'm not sure why you do that. I mean, I guess you just want old trees as opposed to these younger ones. But again, BYO, bring your own settlement. BYOS, bring your own settlement. Let's see. A few years, this is another rumor. A few years after the Great Fire, Dragol, a wandering shaman, claimed the burned out forest was cursed. He and his followers spent months building a protective totem near the old road. Then Dragol ventured into the blackened wood, intent on banishing the source of the curse. He was never seen again. Oh, that's a bummer. Poor Dragol. Those that travel the road would do well to avoid this section after dark. Camping near the woods is a dangerous business, and those who risk it often vanish without a trace. Dragol's ghost wanders the woods, seeking allies in his fight against the curse that taints the land. He charms anyone he finds and sends them into the Black Valley to fight the evil that lives there. I hope that charm part's not true, because you're not going to... You can't just send in people piecemeal, charming them, tell them, go fight the demon, or whatever the thing is. Whatever Cthulhian evil from beyond the sun is in that crater. All right, let's see what else we have. There is a long abandoned camp in the hills south of the burned woods. It is little more than a few crude cabins near a small cave with a spring-fed pool of good water. The acolytes of Dragol make an annual pilgrimage to the Ashwood, paying homage to their vanished leader and offering sacrifices at the totem he built. They believe this keeps the curse that affects this forest at bay. So here's the totem, by the way. So we got that. Okay, are we done? Are there more rumors? All right, so on the locations. Of the locations, I think in the last one we had 7. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 described locations. First up, 2, 3. Hey, I feel like put a marking. It's kind of a layer. You could put a layer symbol there. It wouldn't hurt. Dryad Vale. This small isolated valley contrasts sharply with the barren waste to the northeast. Spring-fed creeks pour into a larger stream that flows between the scattered clumps of silver-barked beech and mossy oaks. I really do like the detail on the trees. I wonder if this person has a good interest in trees or if they just looked up a bunch of tree names, but I like it. Forest floor beneath these huge trees is oddly clear of undergrowth, and the sky and the air is filled with the song of birds. So if you get there, you probably might think that there's some enchantment or something going on. 3 dryads watch over this woodland vale, aided by a small colony of pixies. These creatures will use any means necessary to protect their forest sanctuary from intruders. And we have stat blocks for the dryads, stat blocks for the pixies. So that's nice. It doesn't say if they... I know it would be... I'm wondering if... I probably would as a GM maybe make a connection between them and what's going on. Are they aware of the... obviously they're here and there's something nasty in here. They seem to be a force opposing this. I might want to seed them with some information about the druid or the evil or both. Yeah, assuming, of course, that the party doesn't run into combat and fight them. Hex 302 is the pit. So this is over here. Bruno asks, the PCs automatically mean this creature pod entering the hex? Yeah, I think, well, yes. So usually with it, when you have something described in a hex, the first time that you enter the hex, you happen across what would that describe things. So yes, the assumption is that when you enter, I mean, this is kind of this whole area, I think this veil is all special, but yeah, the assumption is that you're running into that. You could change it, but I'm not sure what the purpose would be. Or you could make multiple ones, but remember this is inside this 1 6-mile hex. So these are all little 1 mile sub hexes. But yeah, That's how I would probably run it. Okay, so I'd want to see them with some information what's going on. Anyway, the pit. A broad depression surrounded by blasted earth and rocks marks the impact site of the fallen star. The deep pit in the center is half filled with black water, but the glimmering silver gray meteorite in the center of the pool can still be seen beneath the water's surface. The meteorite is made from a mixture of high quality iron and sky steel. Ooh, sky steel. The evil thing that carried it here has moved to the caves in the Black Valley. So it landed here and it moved here. I don't know. I guess it's interesting that the this blackened area is not symmetrical and it doesn't surround it on all sides. So here's where the pit is, but then you have green right up next to it, and then it extends this way. Not sure. Not that it matters too much. It says that might compensate for the less amount of random encounter checks. Yeah, I mean, not all the. Remember, only 5 of the 36 subhexes are described. So you still have a lot of area that you can fill in with stuff. Beardy Ben says, encounters with this hex size roll every hex for encounter at a low % chance, or doom clock at where you start a low % chance, adding 5% each hex. You do encounter and reset after every encounter. Yep, that totally would work. Totally could and would work. Yep. All right, so the meteorite's still there. It's got some sky steel in it, but the creature that hopped the ride on the meteor is over in this other area. 3-5 is here. So this is abandoned logging camp, but there's no trail. I would have put some kind of trail here. I feel like it's begging for a trail. Or this way. I'm not sure why you'd come here as opposed to some other logging areas that would seem to be more closer, but it doesn't matter. Not a big deal. All right, this is abandoned camp. This logging camp is long abandoned. Old tents, little more than scraps of canvas hanging off weather-warped wooden frames, a low-walled well, and a few fire pits are all that remains of the old site. The cave is a different matter. It's clear that something fairly large and probably humanoid makes regular use of this rocky hole. Tracks lead to the well and to several other trails that wander through the surrounding woods. One of these trails leads to a refuse heap in a shallow ravine to the northwest. Another leads away to the stream, which is in Hex 405. So that stream, it looks like this is where the stream comes from. And there are 2 trolls here. The cave is occupied by a pair of hideous trolls. These powerful creatures prowl the surrounding woods and the roadway, usually at night, attacking anything they encounter. They are aggressive fighters, fearing only fire. There you go. I'm surprised they didn't put a % chance like they did in the other one. With a % chance, you're going to find the trolls here. I mean, during the day, I would say there's a 100% chance. But during the night, I think there's probably a good % chance you might actually get there. You could maybe sneak into the lair without them being there. See, now 4-1, here the valley, the Black Valley. The barren slopes and blackened trees of this desolate area mark the heart of all that is wrong with Ashwood, the crawling horror that arrived on the meteorite layers in the many shallow caves in these hills, guarded by its animated mind pawns. Both of these creatures are detailed in the extra section. All right, great. So we'll see that there. Now we have Hex 6-4, Draggle's Totem. Draggle's Totem stands atop a man-made hill next to the road intersection. The totem itself is cut from a single massive log 30 feet high, 6 feet in diameter. The lower sections are covered in carvings, row after row of soldier marching around the pillar. The topmost section is decorated with 6 huge bestial faces. This central pillar is surrounded by piles of stacked stones and scattered remains of old offerings. Draggle's followers are few in number, but those that remain still make an annual pilgrimage to the site. They spend 3 days cleaning away the old offerings, restacking stones, and repairing any damage to the main totem. On Midsummer's Eve, they offer a sacrifice to Draggle's memory and depart at sunrise the next day. The totem site is holy ground and radiates a powerful aura of protection from evil in a 500-foot radius. Anyone who makes an offering before the totem is granted a blessed aura that lasts until sunrise of the following day. They are also afflicted with a great desire to see that the evil that inhabits Ashwood destroyed. That's cool. I'm digging it. And now we get encounters on a 1 to 3 trolls, 4 to 6 pixie hunters. They're not hunters looking for pixies. They're pixies who are hunters. 7 to 8, a bemused victim, which would be an unfortunate logger or hunter that's been charmed by one of the dryads and is set to wandering. Nice. I like that. Not a good, RP or information gathering encounter. A lone mind pawn. We don't know what a mind pawn is yet, but it looks like it can take various forms. You roll a d4, might be in the form of a bemused victim, a grizzly bear, a giant spider, or a wild boar. There could be a pack of mind pawns and also a deer herd. Oh, and more. A deer herd, and then also a grizzly bear, a crawling horror. I'm guessing that's the thing over here. Wild boars, giant spider, or GM's choice. Yeah, the idea of any kind of clock, like a doom clock or anything like that, is just that the longer you go without having an encounter, the more likely it is you're going to have an encounter. You can do similar things with decks of cards. Nice thing with something like a deck of cards, as opposed to dice, is each card gets removed from play. So if you're using a deck and you're flipping, if you haven't gotten a card, you know that the percentages of getting a card that's a triggering card is going to increase as you're flipping through the deck, as opposed to with a die, you don't do. So if you want to do something, that's a very easy way to. So if you want to do kind of a doom clock, it's a very easy way to do it. If you don't want to add percentages and do those things, you could just use cards, or you could use kind of adding a die, like doing something like advantage. Hey, you got to roll a 20 for this to happen, but each time you do it, you're adding another 20 to the pile, taking the highest value, and that will keep increasing your chances. Whatever. There's multiple ways to do it, right? But it was a DCC, the Western style DCC game, used cards for shooting guns and other things, and it was really great because everyone was using the same. It was one deck that was flipping for everybody, and some of the cards were good and some of them were not good, and there's this great tension that's rising when it's like, oh my gosh, something good or the not good hasn't come up in a while, and the deck's decreasing, so you know that it's coming, but you don't know exactly when. All right, so extras. Sky steel, it's a lightweight metal. It emits a gentle silvery light and rings like a bell when struck. If you mix it with iron, it adds immense strength and hardness. And sky steel easily absorbs magical energy, making it a perfect vehicle for permanent enchantments. And then the crawling horror. This extra-dimensional horror arrived with the fallen star in the pit. In this plane, it appears as a huge oozing mass of translucent silvery goo. When in motion, it pulls itself along with thick tentacles that form and vanish with surprising speed. The crawling horror has a strong connection to a twisted parallel plane of negative energy. This connection allows it to split itself into multiple pieces in the mundane realm, but still act as a single organism. The horror uses this ability to create mind pawns. It injects a piece of itself into its victim and seizes control of their physical form, leaving the original owner aware but helpless. It can also shift its central intelligence to any of its mind pawns at will. The crawling horror can control many mind pawns at once, but the total wisdom of the controlled creatures cannot exceed 32. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe you're adding them. I don't know what that means about wisdom. To destroy the crawling horror, all fragments must be destroyed. It'd be nice to know how many fragments there are, because you can get them in wandering encounters. I'd like to have like a spreadsheet. How often it makes them, how often it destroys them. Because otherwise, I don't know how you, as a player, I guess it would be, if you figured out how to destroy it, I guess you just got to keep hunting around until, I guess I don't know how you'd know. If any of those mind pawns just getting away doesn't, keeps it alive, then you might need some kind of, I don't know, spell. I mean, just to help you determine, can I ask a yes or no question, right? One of these, are all the mind pawns destroyed? Yes, no, okay, we got to keep hunting, that thing. Crawling horror requires needs magic weapons, I guess, to hurt it. It has a scattered intelligence. Sunlight burns it. It creates mind pawns, negative energy aura. And then the mind pawns are victims that have been taken over. And then Dragol was the shaman who created the totem. Shortly after he finished his work, he disappeared into the ash wood, never to be seen again. The GM should feel free to interpret his current status as he or she sees fit, Seems very unlikely that Drago is still alive, and rumors that his ghost walked the woods may or may not be true. So there you go. A little bit open-ended with Drago. You get to riff on that, GMs. So very nice. You get a little, there's a nice little story here, the falling star and what happened with the falling star and what's going on with the falling star. I think I might like it a little. I guess I just, for myself, I would connect the Veil to the horror. It's a nice opposition here. The trolls are they're just there. They're cool. They're living their lives. It's interesting because who's using this road? Maybe there's something on the other side here. Because given what's going on up here, no way I just see people like, la-di-da, let me go check what's going on here. Heck no. I'm just going across. I'm just cutting across as fast as possible. So, and as before, probably a good idea to put a settlement somewhere off of one of these roads here, or you could put it in the hex here. You're going to want to have somewhere to seed these rumors, and maybe there's an interesting story too that you could tell with the loggers. You know, there's so much woods around here. Why the heck the loggers were up here? But I guess they're different reasons. I'm not sure. I don't know about the rhyme or reason of where you'd set up a logging camp. I think I'd want it near the water, so I'd probably want it here, right? Because you can, the river's flowing this way. That way you, right? Oftentimes I always see those. I don't even know if do they show them anymore, like the things where they put the logs, they do log rolling and stuff. You put the logs and let the river carry the logs downstream. So I feel like you'd want your logging camp over here, and you cut down and go to the water. I don't know. But you know, you can hammer that. You can hammer that stuff out. Well, I'm glad I found these. These are, just to reset, Hexed Places. There is a bunch of them on drive-through. Yeah, Brian says, float those timbers down the water. Yep, and you can do that little log rolling dance when you're got your spiked shoes on and you're, I don't know, yodeling or something while you're doing it. These are Hexed Places. There is a free compendium that you can also get a drive-through, which gives you a summary of them. There's no connected setting as far as I can tell. Each one of these is completely isolated. That's going to be good. I think for some cases, you might need to add some shared context. Other places, no underground maps. These are all overland locations. In fact, this one, Ashwood, doesn't really have an underground location. Well, there's some caves over here that are kind of mentioned, and then there's a cave over here, but you just have to assume that they're all very simple caves, not dungeons per se. But what you're getting are locations, encounters, some interesting kind of hooks and things to riff off of, and the rest, BYOB, bring your own, BYOM, bring your own mechanics, BYOS, bring your own settlement, BYOR, bring your own rules, everything else bringing to you. Ben says it seems solid. Yeah, it's totally solid. Now, they're not new. I don't know if this is done, finished. I actually ran across the site for PBE Games because they had some good random generators on their site. I'm having to follow it. Let's see, at least they were definitely updated in 2021 just for the copyright purposes. But yeah, I think this one maybe is from 2017 originally. The other one we looked at was from, was it 2014 or maybe it was also 2017? What did they say? What was that one? Where's 2014? I don't know if that one, I don't know if it means that the Ashwood's been updated somewhat. Yeah, but totally solid. If you need some stuff to throw in, the nice thing about these is they're totally contained to the hex that they're in. Just drop it in, bam, done. And then everything else you're going to have to bring with it. But I think that's totally fine. And I kind of like that I can appreciate, I guess, that they're keeping, right, no creep, no mission creep here. They've got a design goal, at least it seems implicitly design goal. This is what we're giving you, and they're not going outside of it, which makes it very manageable to come up with stuff. And I feel like it's a lesson I could use learning. It's just, hey, don't get caught up in mission creep. Don't try to deliver everything to everybody. Know what you're giving, and then give what you're trying to give, and be satisfied with that. And that's what they're doing, and it's cool. And they're not very expensive, a couple bucks. I think they're around $2.50. They're on sale. Some of them are cheaper than others. I'm not sure what the difference in pricing is between them. There are bundles also, but right now It's actually more economical to buy them separately because all the individual ones seem to be on sale and the pricing for the bundles hasn't caught up. So if you buy the bundle, you're actually losing a little bit of money. So just buy them individually, and you can just buy them when you need them, or buy a bunch of them and keep them on hand when you need something to fill your sandbox. All right, folks, that's all I got for now. Oh, I will probably make a note sometime, but I will be traveling tomorrow. I'll be getting up super early in the AM to be going on a little family trip. I'm not sure what kind of streaming, if any, I'll do for the rest of the week. So this might be my last stream for the week. I did do 2 working streams. If you like the working streams, and they're on in my working streams or streams playlist, you can see those if you want to see that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to err on just kind of relaxing and hanging out with family when I'm not working. So if you don't hear from me, like I said, I'll try to send some updates. But if you don't see any streams popping up, that is why. So if I don't talk to you, see you, virtually speaking, have a great rest of your week. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, night, whenever you end up watching or listening to this. Beardy Benz has filmed my lunch. Maybe. Game on. And I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.